Book of Faces.
Go for it.
It'll probably take a hot second. So this is, you know what I wanted to discuss today, right?
Yeah, you want to discuss the Epstein files and magic.
Yeah. So the reason why I want to discuss this today is because I feel like regardless where you stand politically, so I was having this conversation with my husband. Like my husband is invested, right?
Mm.
Been before it was hip.
Mm.
Like we're talking 15, 20 years back. I'm just posting that we're going light, rich, and hydrated podcast with. I can't fucking tag you because you have a fucking retarded. Um, Steam files, and occultism. Okay, so this is the reason why I wanted to bring specifically up is that one of the things that my husband brought up, he's like, I'm back when back when I learned about these things, they seemed so far away from like even possibility to like even accept this as something that's happening, right? So then you have like me that comes from really dark industries, plus, having been diving into the occult for like since God knows when. So the idea of human sacrifices is not a foreign one.
Right.
To any extent, and like raising the vibration and then taking someone's life. Plus there have been several cultures where human sacrifice has been the norm, and there's different variations, right, where it's voluntarily versus where you kind of get like a reward for volunteering yourself, versus like the brutal one, the more fear and etc is instilled, the bigger the power, actually, the transition, right? Where I wanted to go today is not even whether the Epstein files are real or not, but how do we bridge the extremity gap between a normie who has never heard of this, and the average occultist who knows of the great work, who knows of human sacrifices, who knows of, like, just by virtue of having studied any background.
Okay.
Human sacrifice, very real.
Sure. Well, I think so. First of all, I think it's funny. I think your average occultist is a lot closer to a normie, unfortunately, than they want to be. Because your average occultist, frankly, is a doubting piece of shit, to be completely honest with you. Your average occultist is largely a coward, because they'll be there and go, oh, well, magic can't really do X, and people don't really do Y. And people don't, and I'm over here like, you don't really do X and Y. You can't.
And just for the background, you are a famous and professional occultist.
Sure.
Like I'm streaming on Twitter too, which is full of my fucking Christian friends.
I'm sure
which is like 90% of my Christians are like, this isn't real. And then you have 10% who always joke like, oh, if it's Bara or the demon, like Bara's gonna win. I feel bad for the demon. And then you have people like you who are well-known, well-respected, make not just a living, make a baller living by having clientele that's 6, 7, 8 figures, not just the average, like, oh, can you do a death spell for $50 for me? We're not like, this is not the, and the reason why I mention your clientele is because those people would not continuously come back to you if it wasn't worth, or if it had a negative ROI.
This is true.
So we're not here to by the way, I'm not here in this live to like convince people that occultism is real. People can figure that out on their own. But yes, continue. The average occultist is closer to a normie because they don't believe in magic, because they have limited ideas.
Well, it's not even just that they have limited ideas. They don't practice enough. They don't work hard enough. So here's the funny thing. When you look at like a Christian, for example, or any person of any religion who doesn't really believe in magic, I look at them and I'm like, well, you must not believe much of your holy book then, because the Bible talks about magic a lot. It talks about how you shouldn't do it unless you're King Solomon, which obviously I disagree with, but it talks about that it was a thing that was done, that has been done, that will be done again, that kind of thing, right? So if you don't believe it, I wonder, like, what sort of milquetoast, baseline Christian you even are, if you don't believe what your own holy book said. But, whatever. I digress. But the thing is, your average occultist is mostly just in it for the aesthetic. Mostly just in it for a fun community of weirdos that they can sit there and opine on. Yeah, well, not even part of it's being edgy, but part of it's just like they don't have any other friends, so they made friends as like some weird 90s chaos magician person. And again, it's always this thing where people will be like, oh, I believe in this, but not that. Like, for example, people go, well, I don't believe in astrology. I'm like, kings of the ancient world did. You're smarter than people that ran their entire empires using this. JP Morgan did. You make as much money as he did? No. It's that whole thing. It's like, just because you suck at it doesn't mean it doesn't work. You just don't know how to do it. Or people will go, oh, well, like, for example, people go, oh, manifestation doesn't work. And I'm like, go to one of these manifestation conferences, look at the cars in the parking lot. Tell me they don't have money. You know what I mean? Look at all, psychic healing doesn't work. Talk to the people who used to have MS, who fixed themselves. Past tense, fixed themselves from MS, stage 4 cancer, all sorts of stuff. Now, do I believe that every wealthy elite person does this? No. And I'll tell you one thing. I do have clients that are wealthy who don't know if they believe it or not, but they pay me to do stuff on the off chance it does work. And then when it starts to work, they're like, oh, shit, I guess. And they're completely just chill about it. They're like, oh, shit.
Neutral.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, detached. Like, it works. Cool. I'm just going to keep paying this guy to do this thing. They look at, they have their executive assistant pay me the same way they have their executive assistant pay their maid service. You know what I mean? Like, it's just, I'm a person that helps with their life. But so when it comes to the human sacrifice thing specifically, it's not only been a long-term thing, but if you look at a lot of occult systems, there's animal sacrifice, there's, blood magic, there's all sorts of stuff. So let's say you are someone who like wants to really get the fuck ahead, and you are a person willing to take, let's say you start small, right? You get a copy of the Key of Solomon, the DeLawrence edition, not the Mathers edition, the one with the extra chapter in the back that talks about sacrificing animals. And you do the ritual and you actually sacrifice, say, a white dove. And all of a sudden you make partner at a law firm when you shouldn't have, when you absolutely should not have. And you're like, oh shit. Okay. All right. Maybe it was a fluke. I can get another dove. Now I'm partner at a law firm. I can get a whole dove release if I want to. And so you do. You get 3 doves, say, and you do it, and then you have triple the result in your magic. You're like, well, shit. And then it goes and goes and goes. And eventually, when you're like, well, shit, I need to become a billionaire. Well, I can pay for like a low-level streetwalker who no one will miss, because that's the thing. I mean, a lot of these sacrificed individuals are people no one will miss. Either they're children that have been trafficked or sold off, mm-hmm. or they're, people in indigent parts of society that will just be disappeared, and then their blood still spends.
Right. And I want to I want to respond to a comment that's here in the chat right now. The question is, how is humanity going to destroy the satanic, pedophile, parasitic elite collectively, when and how, and any idea? And I'm going to respond to it first. For one, this is this language, the satanic, pedophile, is satanic panic. It has nothing to do with Satanism, by the way, or Satan. So I'm just gonna give it grace and utilize, like, you're using it as a evil, right? As an umbrella term for evil. Fair. What I want to, my corner of Twitter is really upset with the Epstein files and these rituals, and I'm like, y'all are fucking cute when there's children in your fucking town being pedophiled as we speak. I don't see no fucking uproar. So nothing is ever going to happen. Collectively, nothing is going to happen. When and how is not going to happen, because people only want things to happen and pimp others out to do the thing for them, right? So everyone's wanting others to catch these pedophiles. People want others to do the research. People want others, constantly are pimping out others to get the consequences done, which is not happening because everyone wants others to do these things. So trying to solve humanity at such a large scale is a joke if you cannot even keep your own fucking town clean. That's all I'm going to say. That's like trying to eradicate whatever fucking evil, but you can't even keep your fucking own room clean. You're a fucking joke. Your intent is well, but you're delusional in a not fun way. Anyway, you
Yeah, I
feel
agree with
free
you
to
there, but
respond.
I mean, I'd add to that. So two things. One, I mean, I agree with Bara. I actually posted something on my own social media the other day about how a lot of my students, because I also teach magic, I have them look at their local sex offender registry and curse a pedophile once a quarter.
But
So,
why would you not practice?
but my thing is that's for a year. So my students have done more to fix that than the person in the comments, and they always provide receipts. Allegedly CIA, allegedly in Minecraft. But here's the thing: you're not only are you right that nothing will ever get fixed. Another reason why things won't get fixed is because of money, right? So imagine this: you are a well-meaning, largely conservative individual, and you think, because again, you know, people love to criticize walls they've never had their backs to. So you like to think that you would do something, and then one of these people's servants rocks up to you and it's like, here's $10 million. Because that's nothing money with $1 trillion or multiple $1 trillion fucking, you know, pool of money. Like, here's $10 million. You will back up. You will shut the fuck up. You will go live a comfortable life. Because the thing is, the reason why these things are even postable is because everyone who does these things, everyone who runs everything, and I don't, for context, I don't believe it's all one group of people. I believe it's multiple rival groups of people who hate each other. I think that the reason why this is so public is because there's nothing that can be done. Because they know that. They're flexing. And it's the thing. One of the reasons why I tell people to get good at magic is because our world is one that does not have consequences if you have enough money or power. Like O.J. Simpson killed a guy, gets paid $10,000 to take a selfie with him. Casey Anthony killed a baby. People take that bitch on dates because she's fine. You know, like, you know, there was a guy, they called him the Deadpool killer, Wade Wilson, because he's physically attractive. A bunch of psychotic women would like, oh, I don't care that he murdered people. He's cute. Like, again, there are no consequences. You know, the emperor does. It's not just the emperor has no clothes. The emperor has no skin. Like, you know, everyone's bullshit is on display completely. So people love to talk about, oh, who would stop these? It's not going to be stopped. They know that because there's too many things going on. There's too many layers to this shit. The thing is, even early on, like when Kubrick did Eyes Wide Shut and then he fucking died, that was one of the earliest proofs of, because it's not like they stopped it from happening. It's not like they removed every copy of that at the time VHS up to DVD from shelves, and they could have. It's not like it became this like cult secret. No. You can watch it for free on Tubi. Because they don't care. Because the fact is, everything and everyone is for sale. The most you can do is take care of your individual environment and take care of yourself. You know, what this should inspire everyone to do is gain their own power so that they are safe. So that they
money, power, fitness, health.
Yeah.
This is what, if anything, these horrible events should trigger in people, in the fucking normies, is to get filthier rich, because it's the easiest time to get rich. Like, I'm not even going down. Like, there's people uglier, dumber than all of us here who are 100 times richer than us.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
I will say, just to prove Bear's point, if you actually read the emails and see how these motherfuckers spell, this should make the idea of becoming wealthy as easy as pie to you. Because you're like, if some motherfucker who's like, hey, bro, loved the torture video can get this shit, I can get this shit because I can write at a fucking college
academic level.
That's right. You know, that's the biggest thing. So, I mean, absolutely, it's always been the truth that you can get this shit. But you really need, whoever you are, whoever's listening, whoever will listen in the future, you need to get your shit together, because the thing is, the dark reality is, to these people, you don't matter. Even if you become worth $100 million, you don't matter. Maybe you'll get an invite to some low-level weird thing, but if you're actually the good person you think you are, and that's because maybe you're not tested, because let's say you have $100 million, what will you do? Because here's a good example. I have some clients that are very, very wealthy, and one of them said to me once, you know, I could buy pretty much any Instagram girl I want. He's like, and he said, because this is true. I mean, most Instagram baddies are just whores. They're just for sale. And they're
Absolutely.
using their platform as an advertisement thing. It's a sales ladder, right? It's actually good business. Instagram goes to OnlyFans, goes to private messages, goes to, hey, I actually have 10 grand, so let's make this happen. Again, world's oldest profession will never end. And keep in mind, crucially, despite around the really dark shit that happened with the Epstein files, there was normal debauchery. Like, the thing about the Eyes Wide Shut situation is those were all sex workers who were just hired to do weird orgy party things. That was, again, the whole point, and the point of that movie that was really so cogent was that was the tippy top of an iceberg. That was an example of, like, because at the very end, when the guy's talking to the main character, the doctor, and he goes, if you even understood who were in those rooms, you would never think about anything the same way again. And that's just the truth, because just like magic runs deeper than people realize, everything runs deeper than people realize. What this should inspire people to do is to panic enough in themselves to gain a level of sovereignty where you are safe. Because the world is never going to be safe or kind.
Right. I made a poll on the Twitters, on the X's, asking, like, hey, for my Christian but also non-Christian friends, are you pro or against, witches sending demons after, bad people, pedophiles, whatever? And the comments were hilarious, if anything. Like, why would you want to involve yourself in demons? And then the whole, like, karma law, like, threefold. Oh no, it's gonna come back to you. And I'm like, y'all naive, following fucking sheep. The fact that you, in a completely hypothetical situation, are already expressing the fear you have within you is the exact reason why nothing will ever fucking happen. And I'm going to use a completely, like, non-Epstein files related example. So regardless of where you stand on all the fucking ICE shit and whatever, this week a post went viral where civilians, anti-ICE protesters, created a non-legal checkpoint, and people had to and they were checked, like, where they come from and what they would stand for, and then they were allowed through in their own fucking neighborhood, right? And everyone's like, these protesters, ridiculous, blah blah. And I'm like, y'all are laughing about these protesters. I'm laughing at everyone fucking complying.
Yeah.
So when people go like, hey, and Dulcecello makes a great point in the chat. He's like, I know it was someone who killed a pedophile here, and I respect him for that, but the system blames him for it, and he ended up in prison. If you'd have enough people with an actual backbone, not just mentally jerking off about ideas, this wouldn't happen. Because no cop would then go like, yeah, I have to arrest you. Then no judge would go like, you end up in prison. There is the world is ruled by too many fucking followers. The system only exists because there's too many fucking followers.
Well, I mean, another thing I wonder, right, and I've often asked this question, let's say there's a huge uprising, everyone in Congress and everyone in politics is murdered in front of everybody, which should happen, but it's not gonna. Let's say it did. How many generations, if even one, would it take for the new people who are running things to become just as bad? Because the thing is, power doesn't just corrupt, it shows you the darkest parts of yourself, right? And if you've never had it, that's the biggest thing. If you've never had it, then it creeps really fast into you, right? This is the thing that, like, for example, when you see people who are learning magic for the first time, I often tell my students, like, look, this shit's real. It's really real. And you're going to see how real it is, because the first time you get something you shouldn't, you're going to really see who you are. Because here's the thing. All these people who are doing all these bad things, they're not all born lizard people, psychopath level evil. It's a slow creep. And here's what it looks like. Okay, yeah, you worked real hard in college and in high school or whatever. Maybe you had a rich father or mother or family. You worked really hard. And then, maybe you get married young, because a lot of them are older, right? You get married young to someone who, it was a smart match, but it wasn't what you wanted. And then, one of your coworkers or one of your colleagues lets it slide that, like, yeah, you can rent prostitutes, and people are doing it. And eventually you go, okay, yeah, I'll do it. and you finally get a woman as attractive as you want. You get that under your hands for maybe the first time in your entire fucking life, Bill Gates. And, you know, you're like, oh shit, this is crazy. Okay. Well, you know, that was a one-off and it was whatever, but it keeps happening and happening. And the thing about indulgence without discipline is it creeps deeper and deeper and deeper. You want more. You need it's just like when people are looking at porn a lot, they need more and more intense porn. It's the same way with people who have the money to frequently hire escorts.
Yeah.
Right. And again, I actually know some wealthy people who do hire escorts who are disciplined as fuck, and it's like it's a twice a year thing. Only if I make my bonus or only if I make this percentage. I'm not saying it's the best thing in the world to do, but they're at least controlled about it. But if you're one of these people, you're not. And then the thing is, you do have the Jeffrey Epsteins of the world, the fixers, who will trick you into doing something you shouldn't, get proof that you did it, you know, blackmail you with it. Because that was the backbone of everything. Before you even get to the weird magic shit, the backbone of everything was purely mundane, banal, you know, espionage level fuckery. But the thing is, everything, because the thing is, the human brain, right? The way your neural pathways rewire when you get away with something is fascinating. You steal something once and you get away with it, you are like 300% more likely to try again. And the thing is, when you live with impunity, when you are one of these people who really wakes up and goes, I have more money than God, I can have anything I want. And the thing is, if you don't have discipline, a good sense of self, a good whatever, because if you look at certain people, right, look at like really wealthy people, there are some people that break the mold and some people that don't. Jeff Bezos is a perfect example of someone who kind of breaks the mold a little bit. Like, he didn't come from the same backgrounds as them. And you could tell because he doesn't pick the same women that they pick. He doesn't look androgynous like a lot of them want to. He tries to be as muscular as he can. And I'm not saying he's like, you know, the sainted great person. I don't even know if he's on the list or whatever. But the point is, he's different. Most of them follow the same trend. It's a club that if you do not comply with the certain behaviors, you're excised from. And anybody who's ever seen someone hurt themselves, either physically, psychologically, emotionally, spiritually, or all four, to fit in, knows that like the higher the stakes are, the higher they'll work. So yeah, you're probably going to have people who don't even understand the magic about what's going on. Go, whatever. People are standing around in some weird robes and doing some shit. Fuck it, whatever. This is going to let me in the club. They don't understand what they're doing, what they're adding to, but they're doing it, right? There's so many levels of this shit. And Bear is absolutely right. It's cowardice, because the people who are running the shit, behind the shit, they know what they're doing, but they're using people as useful idiots. Because every now and again, one of them gets sacrificed as a lamb. They go to prison, you know, publicly. P. Diddy was a perfect example. He flew too close to the sun. He was too wild with the shit. Because you'll see some people who are diabolical and debaucherous that way who never get caught because they have a level of discipline. I'm not saying that that's good. I'm saying that's true. Again, I'm not condoning or even celebrating any of this. But a person needs to have an understanding of how the world has always worked. And the thing is, it used to be much more naked than it is. You know, in like Roman times, the idea of human sacrifice, you know, the idea of an elite being like, I'll just have a slave that's basically like a possession. And if I feel like sacrificing them or doing whatever I want to them, I just can. That was then. The thing is, now it's just gilded, right? It's hidden behind things. Like, if you think that, you know, if you think that you're not for sale for these people, if they really put their mind to it, I mean, again, you don't know, like, would you? Because the thing is, I don't know anyone who's like this, but I've heard from my higher earning clients who'll be like, oh yeah, there are some of us that will just try to push people, see what we can buy from them just because we can. And so, like, you know, and there are magicians out there who are the same. Like, how much can I push this person? What spell can I cast on this person? What can I do? Just out of sheer boredom at that point.
Yeah. It's been such a fucking clown show seeing it. Like, again, I know everyone's been at it forever. Like, for some people have been at it for 15 years, 10 years, and people will not shut up about it. And I'm like, I love how mentally masturbating even the fucking real men are. And I'm like, I once, well, not once, I've several times looked up like the sex offenders here in my area. We have like 5 in a radius of like 100 miles, just by virtue because we don't have any people here, right? And a few weeks ago, a bunch of pictures got hung up in the town at the cafe. Like, hey, we have a sex offender. This is what he looks like. This is where he lives. And I'm like, you know what? Good for you for actually doing something instead of just yelling, we must reveal these pedophiles. What they're doing is bad. Again, I'm just going to repeat in this episode ad nauseum. If you are not doing anything about your local pedophiles, I'm taking all of your virtue signaling as fucking mental masturbation. Sure, you are a good boy. Tell the world how good you are and virtuous and how you don't believe in these bad people doing bad things. And now you do nothing.
No, agreed. I mean, that's the thing. If you're not doing something, you're doing nothing really at the end of the day. And I mean, a further thing that's funny about that is, again, it's people who don't want to put skin in the game, right? It's easy to rant and rave and then go back. But here's the thing. It's like, you're still, the funniest thing about it is like, yeah, okay, you can bitch, but like, you're still going to go pay your taxes to a system that hates you. You're still going to give of yourself to people who absolutely hate you. And this is the thing I've been saying for years. Every politician, with no exception, hates you. Down to your local fucking mayor. They hate you. They want you to die. They hate you so fucking much, it's comical. And they know they can take from you as much as possible. Which is why.
Not only will they take from you, you will thank them on your fucking knees and with your mouth open and get their gist right in you. Thank you, Daddy.
That's definitely a thing. But like, and so instead of that, perhaps, because I mean, again, you'll be in prison if you don't pay your taxes for long enough, but it takes longer than people think. But you will be eventually, or at least they'll come for you and go, hey, look, you got to do this. The thing is, this is why like creating personal sovereignty is the most important thing you can possibly fucking do, because it's about what they can't take from you.
Oh, sorry, my dog is chewing on one of the computer wires. Yes.
But it's like, again, you talk about fitness. They can't take your physical strength from you. Time will, because time takes everything. But time even takes from them. But like, they can't take your strength from you. They can't take the things you learn from you. They can't take your magic from you if you're ballsy enough to actually learn it and not a coward.
But what they can do is distract you as much as possible, make you dumber, fatter, and more poor, and make you believe that you're actually doing well with that poverty and with that.
No, it's true. They definitely are good at getting you. They're good at getting you to think that you're the problem, or that you're the savior because you're able to do this. It's funny, as a longtime 4chan user, when the whole like Jeffrey Epstein was possibly responsible for 4chan's politically incorrect board. That's a bit of 4chan conspiracy theory for a while. Not Epstein exactly, but like, this is like a honeypot. And like 4chan's fun and hilarious. And that's why you should use it. But you shouldn't take it that seriously. But yeah, I mean, that's the thing. But it's the same echo chamber. Someone will go on there and rant and rave about, in some cases, legitimate problems, in some cases less so. And, but if it's this like thing where you can just expend your emotional energy and then you feel at least somewhat satiated and you can go on about your day. Oh yes, I said the mean.
I sure told the Twitter and the Facebook about how against these pedophiles I am.
Exactly.
Aren't I a good boy?
Or even less like against the pedophiles, more like, against the government, against the system. Again, as someone who grew up considering himself a severe libertarian, I often viewed people as like, you were either the crazy person who actually did the thing but suffered for it, like, oh, I'm a sovereign citizen, which is insane. Do not do that. You go to prison. Or like, I'm not paying my taxes. I'm doing this. I'm going to do whatever. Or they were the people who just sat there and said like, yeah, I'll show them by posting anonymously on a forum. The thing is, less talking and more intelligent building of personal sovereignty is what you really need to do. Because you can. Like, and I'm not saying you need to be, worth $1 billion to have any level of personal freedom and agency. That would be insane. But you do need to be better than you are. And you do need to live a life at least commensurate with the values that you claim to espouse, right? That's the thing. If you care about freedom, be a more free person. If, like, just like Bear's saying, if you are anti-pedophile, do whatever you can to thwart them. I'm not saying you got to go out there and fucking, Minecraft some random pedophile, although it'd be cool if you did. But of course, you don't want to go to prison. I get it. But like,
you can make life really uncomfortable for certain people within many legal bounds.
Oh, you absolutely can. I mean, you can harass it, because the thing is, the more punishment that people see, and that's the thing. If we live in a world without consequences, when consequences start happening, people panic. Never at a high level, but at a low level. And that's the thing. That's what you can do. Because here's the thing. Like, I remember when I was a kid, the whole Catholic Church scandal came out. And because I'm a fucking psychopath, I wrote a letter to the local bishop, and I was like, please forward this to the Pope, because I was a kid and I thought that was how that worked. And it was basically like, Pope so-and-so, you are a coward if you don't murder every one of these people. Because again, Catholicism is a war religion, which is why it's kind of based. If you don't do this, if you don't do this, then you're a coward, right?
Catholicism is a war religion, which is why it's kind of based. Okay, so good,
so good. As someone who got baptized Catholic and grew up culturally Catholic, like, it certainly
same.
Yeah, it certainly beats the shit out of Protestantism, but
any day, and it's prettier too.
Oh yeah, no, the fucking aesthetic, like,
yes.
Yeah, that's the move and the movement right there. Point is, but of course it never reached the Pope, surely. But my principle still stood. You could fix this. You could fix this in a way that no one would ever make this mistake again under genuine terror. Just like, for example, our government could make, proven pedophilia a murderable offense. Mm-hmm. They're not gonna, because they're cowards, but they could. And if they did, you would see less of it. Like, you just would. Because again, there are some people who are pedophiles who their impulse control just doesn't exist, and they're going to offend, and like, they should be killed anyway. But like, there's some who probably will go, you know what, I want to do this, but I'm going to die if I do this, so I'm not going to do this. And you would see a precipitous drop in offenses, because people would fucking die. Mm-hmm. And the thing is, you don't. And now it's interesting. Like, why is that? Why would there not be laws?
Wait, not only is there not a consequence, there's even corners of the world where they're publicly celebrated and condoned. And I just want to specify this for everyone listening. Like, obviously, we have the minor attracted people, right? That's the term now for people who have pedophilic, I don't know what the word is, pedophilic tendencies, and they can't help it. So you should, empathize with them and compassionize with them. That's a fucking hard no. 2, the Netherlands had the Netherlands, by the way, everyone's glorifying Europe. Let me get real with it. The Netherlands had a publicly pedophile political party for at least 12 years. And they tried to revamp it again like 2 years ago. So not only are people not afraid, they're so comfortable that they openly and publicly can create political parties.
Yeah, no, that's that is quite a problem for obvious reasons. But that's the thing. I mean, you see this stuff and no one does anything. And it just goes back to the original point of, like, because nothing is ever going to get done on a broad scale, you need to do something in your life right now to make everything better. And whether that's, learning skills, learning sorcery, becoming stronger in yourself, getting more money, doing all the above, becoming even something as simple, right? Like, this is a little bit of an aside, but it's a thing. So we just had this big winter storm on my side of the country, and a bunch of people worried about their power going out. I have, standalone power units, things like that can run appliances, fridges, various parts of my home for, days at a time. Most people aren't even prepared like that, like low level prepared for discomfort, let alone discomfort. Discomfort. No, exactly. Like, let alone like proper life sovereignty. And that's the thing. I mean, you really got to take stock about where you are and what you can do better. And a lot of people will say that there's a boundary to real sovereignty. And here's the thing. I think that that's true to a degree. If you are on the bottom Okay, there will be this jump where you can get to a point where you can become something else. That's true. There is that Rubicon you need to cross. But if you're on the bottom, like before I was a very successful occultist, I was a forklift operator. Now, granted, I used, literal magic to get good really to get decently paid really fast. But let's say you can't do that because you ain't me, and that's unfortunate for you. Love being me. But like, let's say you're not me. That's tragic. But okay, fine. There are plenty of things you can teach yourself, skills you can learn. And here's the biggest thing about personal sovereignty through, say, entrepreneurial ventures. It's a numbers game. Just try a couple of times and eventually you'll succeed. Like most people I know who are successful business owners were like, yeah, I got a couple of failed ones before I had, a decent success. Anyone will tell you, I'm the outlier that the first time I ever fucking tried it worked. But I'm the outlier because of spooky magic. So again, like maybe learn some spooky magic and your life will get better.
And the Bible is a great resource for spooky magic, by the way.
Oh yeah, that's what it is. That shit is a spell book I use all the damn time. The Psalms, each one is a spell and each one does stuff if you know what to do. But like that's the thing. It's all about choosing a fight you can actually win appreciably. And not choosing an impossible, you're absolutely right, an impossible virtue signal level fight that not only are you not going to win, you're not even going to start.
Right. It's like, I just came back from a business mastermind retreat. And one of the first feedback that everyone gave me is like, you are so much more kinder and warmer in person than we see online. And I'm like, that is because I talk about certain like inflammatory subjects or real life things, right? Like business, fitness, whatever, where my kindness doesn't do anything for one. And I think we should bully virtue signalers more.
Oh, agreed.
Because the amount of people that now think they are doing something just by on their fucking laptop. Again, it's even more. I think that virtue signalers are to me even worse than actual fucking offenders. Just because they legit think they're doing something.
They certainly do. I mean, and that's the funny thing. It's like I said, it's a trap that's built on purpose for people.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's a little sinkhole that you can put your energy into rather than doing something appreciable with it. And again, like I'm not saying you should never be angry about things in the world. I'm annoyed about things in the world every day. Mm-hmm. But it's about what are you going to do, not only about it, but to make your life a better fucking life. Like, because that's the thing. Like I said, the world has never been fair. The illusion, especially in America, which again was a delightful thing. Like I grew up in probably the best time to be a kid in America, millennial generation. We had the best childhood. Then we had the dog getting fucking aggressive. Like we had all the stuff, right? And then we moved into the whole world. But like that fluke, that like economic fluke of like everything is wonderful and good, and if you just try really hard, you can do it. The rug got pulled out from under a lot of people real fast, which is why a lot of people in my generation and the ones younger are just fucking pissed. But yes. That's just the world. We were lucky to have what we had. No one else had what we had. Nobody. Which is why a lot of my friends who are from other countries are like, yeah, shit, life got hard. At least you had a good childhood. Like
you at least you have the hope or an idea of what good could be like.
Yeah, I was gonna say your Slavic ass had to come here to have a good life, like.
And like occultism 101 mm-hmm. for all the non-occultist listeners and the skeptic occultists and the wankers and the virtue signalers and all the good people with the good intentions and the good heart. Mm-hmm. Occultism 101. Energy never gets lost. It gets transferred, alchemized, or siphoned. So everyone now mentally masturbating about how good of a person they are and how these bad people should be canceled and yelling and feeding all these emotions into it. That energy is being used, FYI, and not for the good stuff that you think they are.
Yeah, no. If you're any kind of smart, I mean, shit, I do this all the time because if you're publicly an occultist, you got rivals, you got ops, you got people fucking with you. And if you're smart, you know how to siphon energy and transmute it into your wealth, health, love life, etc. If you don't think these people are doing that on a mass scale, you're also naive because it's a resource. Why leave it on the table?
Just like attention is a digital currency,
Mhm.
energy, anger, frustration, public outrage is all a resource.
It's a spiritual currency, yeah. And it spends real well. It's a fiat currency, is what the fuck it is. That's the thing. You can take all that energy, you can go to one of these spirits and be like, hey, you want this big bundle of all these people's outrage? And it's like, yeah, I do.
Yeah, the fuck I do. I was talking to God, fuck, who was it? I think it was Sen. He's the New Orleans. Is it Sen? Yeah, I think it's Sen. Yeah, I think it was. I want to say that I was having this conversation with him many moons ago, many years ago, where he at some point touched like, yes, human and animal sacrifice very much real. The biggest problem is with all the people who are coming into the occultism thinking it's like a shiny transactional, I'm gonna do this one time and then get that outcome, is that they're while they may sacrifice animal or whatever, sure, but they don't have the skill yet to recognize or to siphon it towards the right deity or entity or spirit or energy form to actually give you that transaction.
That's absolutely true. I mean, there's a skill to all of this. There's a craft to all of this. And another thing too is like you set a precedent, right? Like there are so many systems of magic that don't require living sacrifices at all. Many, and they're all very powerful too. The problem is you go to say you start feeding your spirits blood. They will only work for blood now. In many cases. There are exceptions, but in many cases they'll only work for blood. And the more you give them, the more they need and the more they require and whatever. And there are some spirits that will only work for that. There are some spirits that have never worked for that. It's complicated in general. But also what I think is a lot of people I know a lot of people start off at the end and they can't maintain it. They start off as Superman, in reality they're Clark Kent. They don't know how to be pragmatic about what they're able to, the energetic load they're able to handle.
Yeah, I fucking love how we solve the world. Basically, long story short, spiritual warfare, including a human horrendous activities, have been going on forever, will go on forever. I don't know, make your local pedophile's life really fucking uncomfortable on a really mundane level. Put fucking shrimps in his AC until he can't fucking breathe because it smells like fucking rotten shit. Cut all his fucking tires. Like, we don't have to even go through these extravagant, kill him, harm him physically. There's plenty of discomforts that you can infuse on a very fucking local level.
Agreed. Absolutely agreed. I mean, shit, there's a whole host of fucking things you can do. But also, if you get bored, that's another thing, all this frustration, if you get bored, just find out where this fucker works and go in and then just harass them at work. Do all sorts of stuff. I mean, really, they deserve so much worse. And that's the biggest thing that I tell my students all the time. Even if you're concerned about karmic backlash or sin or whatever, a thing like a pedophile has relinquished its humanity. There is no action against such a person that is a sin, that is a problem. There is no action.
Say more, because the Christians need to fucking hear this.
The thing is, again, I mean, the question is, and the biggest problem I have with Christianity as a system is this universal tendency for forgiveness that gets you nothing. Jesus could forgive. That's fine. You don't have to. Mm-hmm. Because the thing is, if you forgive everything, then nothing matters, right? Which is one of the reasons why, especially with Protestant Christianity, like, oh, if you're just serious in your heart and you repent in your heart, does that mean all the time or just once? Because the thing is, like, you can even be sorry for 20 minutes. Your neural pathways don't change. It's the same reason why, like, trying to find a fucking wife in the church is just a bad idea, because It's like, well, she could just be forgiven for anything from a higher authority than you. So it doesn't matter if you forgive her fuckery. God did. And so then so must you. She bypasses anything you think or feel for God. And so, okay, fine, pedophile sorry for 20 minutes. Genuinely heartfully sorry. God forgives, purifies. Neural pathways are still there. They're going to offend again. And they're just sorry all over again. And it's this thing. No. Vengeance cleans things. You can wash your hands clean in the blood of another person or in the tears of another person who's wronged you. And you should. Because vengeance makes you clean. More than the Christian context of forgiveness ever could on a personal level. Because again, we're talking about individual sovereignty.
Cleanses you.
It sure does. But on a personal level, in terms of sovereignty, you can have a spiritual connection with whatever religion. You can have genuine connection with various spirits of various pantheons, right? You can do all sorts of cool shit. But when it comes down to it, you need to be sovereign over your decisions. And again, if you realize there are some people who have done a level of evil that they just give up the light in them, a pedophile is certainly one.
How did we get, and this is an American question, how did we get from fucking brutal religious Catholics and other religious fucking nuts that had zero problem murdering, slaughtering, brutalizing, raping, to all these people who are like, well, my good girl name tag is more important than, anything else.
Well, I mean, the comforts of the first world are a good example. Because the thing is, people tend to default to their level of comfort. Like, the thing is, yes, America was founded by marauding psychopaths in the best possible way. But it genuinely, like, America was founded by people with a conqueror's mindset. And, people who were crazy enough to risk everything, in a vast and hostile new world. And again and again, all the way from coast to coast as things expanded. Like, that never stopped being crazy. But even then, as soon as you had the first cities on the East Coast, there were groups of people who were like, I'm not a pioneer person. I'm not a frontiers person. I'm going to stay in the city. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing either. Like, that doesn't mean you're less of a person. But they're like, I'm just not going to be the thing. There were people who sit in front of, there was a Jack Reacher quote. It's like the people who sit in front of the campfire, the people who need to go find the next campfire, right? America has a lot of that, the latter. But the thing is, we become comfortable. And when you have more to lose, because realistically speaking, like just as an example, we have more things, material possessions, than generations past. Because it's easier to get nice shit. And that's cool. I love nice shit. Great stuff. Big fan. But you eventually become attached to these things. You become attached to your creature comforts. You don't want to risk it all because maybe a lot of us have never known true scarcity. Like, there's a big difference between the business owner who's been poor before and isn't afraid to go back versus the one who never has. Or like there's a person who's like, no, I've dealt with real hardship. I know I can handle it. I'm going to risk this thing because I know that I can handle the worst possible scenario, versus people who never have. And if you never have, that's not necessarily your fault, right? Like, if you came from a really good place and a great family and everything was made comfortable for you and you were loved, that's great. Like, my family was wonderful. My shit was great. I've known some.
By the way, but you also come from a line of professional occultists.
They're not. They are occultists, but I'm the only one that's ever made a living at it. But
sure.
But the thing is, yeah, so sure, we had power and we have all kinds of stuff. But like, the thing, but I don't pretend like I've known a level of hardship that most people have. I haven't. I've known different trials, for sure, but I haven't known a level of hardship that a lot of people out there have. But I'm aware of that, right? Like, I'm cognizant of what I have and haven't known. But I think that's the thing. I mean, the comforts of the first world make people really, really, really unwilling to put shit on the line, but also unable to understand what that means.
Could we do a, like, yes to everything you said, for one? And could we do like a cliff notes overview of like occultist history, what the great work is, just in like two phrases, what Jack Parson was and how he was involved, like which publicly occultist streams were very public in the CIA doing occultist practice, like, right? Like, it's so It's not even hidden.
Yeah. No, but it'd be every government in the world has researched the metaphysical. The funniest thing about this is governments know that this shit's real, but the thing is there are very few high level occultists working in government for one simple mundane reason: it doesn't pay as much. If you're a remote viewer from the CIA, you're going to make a salary. If you're a remote viewer for, I don't know, Amazon, you're going to make, a gigantic commission, right? So like private sector always pays more than public. So private sector occultism always pays more than public. And the thing is, a lot of governments, they know just enough to know that they don't know a lot about
Exactly.
it. But the thing is also, crucially, they don't need to.
Mhm.
Because I've never encountered magic that can stop a predator drone, for example. So
Right.
like, again, it doesn't really need to matter. Because again, magic, the thing is, magic is really hard to make to work on scale. Like you need
Just like religion is, by the way.
Oh no, it's just true. But see, religion's a lot easier to make work at scale because people just need to buy in to a promise, not a practice.
Mm-hmm.
That's the biggest difference. And so, but the thing is, you'd need like an Epstein Island level thing to make it work at scale, because you need like an industrial scale of this. And most occultists are weird loners who don't want to work with other people. See, the thing is that the funny thing is, your average evil elite is actually not that good at magic. They're good enough because it's a tool. It's not a lifestyle. It's not like a passion project. So like, ironically, they're not as good. They may hire some people who are really fucking good for like one-off things in their lives, but the things that they do to empower themselves and their group of people, it's actually not even that high level. That's the funniest thing. It's mid-level because that's all that they need because of the scale at which they are operating. And so
Yes.
when you see things like using Jack Parsons as an example, like, yeah, he was a Thelemite, which again is a shitty thing to be because their magic is pretty busted, but he was pretty good. But he did magic, and he, was a rocket engineer and did all kinds of stuff and put things more in the public consciousness. A bunch of people have. But the thing is, this has always been a known thing on some level. The funniest thing too is like people think that like it's a recent understanding of this. If you look at like novels from the 1800s, you'll find accurate depictions of occult practice. Bram Stoker, the guy who wrote Dracula, he wrote a book about a mummy. It's just like another horror novel, because he wrote more than just Dracula. Just that's all people know him for. He wrote a horror novel about a mummy that has perfectly accurate depictions of astral projection and all kinds of occult stuff in there. He was a member of the Golden Dawn, so there was that. But like, this was a thing you could just research. If you look at like Hammer horror cinema in the 70s, great movies, but you have accurate depictions of a lot of magic in those. Very accurate. And you're like, well, shit. I mean, because you could just look it up. If you were scholarly enough and you knew where to look, you could find it. And these things were not the most hidden things in the world like people think. You just had to know where to look and know where to go. And with that same thing, knowing that you just had to know where to look and know where to go, it's not that hard to realize that a lot of people know this. So if a lot of people know how to do this to one level or another, so do bad people. And that's really what it comes down to. Now, as far as the great work, a lot of people, that means different things to a lot of different people. For some people, it means disillusion of the self into the Godhead. For some people, it means creating physical immortality, like Saint Germain. For some people, it just means whatever their huge magical goal happens to be. But the inspiration behind that is pushing yourself to a miraculous level, right? Like doing something that is like a storybook miracle. And some miracles are dark miracles. So that's why you have some evil people out there doing it.
One question that used to be a topic of conversation when I just like started dipping my toes into occultism back when there was, by the way, no internet. We're just like, underground buying a book about any fucking Abramelin. I don't know still how do you pronounce it in English? Abramelin?
Shit, I don't know. I mean,
everyone's arguing always. I'm like, look, from my language
I always knew it as Abramelin, but as I
Abramelin?
understand it, it's like it's a German thing. I don't know, but I don't know.
Sure, that's why. But my point being is that within magic or occultism, you have obviously like the active seekers of knowledge.
Hmm.
The discredit of like the mass population discrediting it. I'm like telling Elizabeth, the Queen Elizabeth, that she was dumb while she had like right hand occultists. Like that would be disrespectful, right? Like there's so many entities, CIA,
Hmm.
governments all over the world using any level of occultism. Like these are not dumb um, entities or systems,
Hmm.
but to what extent, which is what I was thinking in regards to the Epstein. So you have these people who consciously create these events, right? Like the logistics of it,
Yeah.
right? And then to what extent do people get basically used as puppets or possessed by entities and then do these things? So it's not like they actively seek the knowledge and then from there go. um to what extent is possession a thing
I mean,
where you
I,
open yourself up for spirit and takes over?
yeah. I mean, I think that it depends on what system you're working with, because there are some systems that are more prone to that, and there are some systems that are less prone to that. But that's always been talked about. But really, what it really is there's a group of people at the inner circle of a thing that are guiding things, and there's a circle of people around them. And if anyone's getting possessed and used as like a meat puppet, it's those people.
Mhm, mhm.
And typically it's like a spirit will go into someone and give like a prophecy or explain knowledge or explain whatever, because it's a lot easier to put a spirit in someone than to make it appear in front of you. That's very hard, possible, but very difficult. And so it's just easier to use somebody. And then oftentimes that can serve as a reward for the spirit, because then they have flesh, they have a body, right? So then they'll go do diabolical things. They'll go do bad things and, enjoy the sensation of having a body and then leave. And maybe the person remembers, maybe they don't. Maybe that person is now a doorway for that spirit who comes back into them every now and again. And, that's definitely always been a factor. And like I said, it's a way you can pay those spirits.
Yes, sorry, dog was barking,
No,
so
no, that's cool. No worries.
basically not only did we solve life, the cliff note of this hour-long podcast is, if you are yapping on about the Epstein files but you don't know the names of your local pedophiles, you're a fucking joke. That's basically the
No, agreed. I mean, hard agree. If you're not doing anything if you're not affecting things that you can, whether in your own life, in terms of your own personal sovereignty and growth, or to bring justice on some small level to something, I agree. I think that you're not doing anything of value. You're just flailing your arms.
flailing your arms on the water. Nah, nah, nah. Anyway, everyone, get richer, get healthier, get richer. I'm telling you, is the main thing. Get richer, get healthier, get more regulated. Start concentrating where you put your energy, your focus, and your emotions in, and then we can have conversations.
Indeed, we can.
This is World Domination with my favorite Alexander Moore, and I'll see y'all in the next episode.